Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news, all right. Folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you could be a game changer not just for the Steelers, but for the entire AFC North. Rumors are swirling around the league, and they're pointing towards a blockbuster potential trade that might just reshape the division's landscape. And I'm talking about the possibility of the Pittsburgh Steelers making a move for none other than Justin Jefferson, the Minnesota Vikings, explosive wide receiver. Now, I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but the whispers coming from trusted sources like Adam Schefter suggest there's real talk behind the scenes. It's a trade that could turn the Steelers' offense into an absolute nightmare for defenses across the league, especially if they manage to land a player of Jefferson's caliber. Let's set the stage here. The Vikings, sitting at a 4-5 record and facing some serious salary cap constraints, around $15 million, are in a bit of a tough spot. They've weathered some injuries, especially on the offensive line, which has led to a staggering 28 sacks allowed so far this season. It's clear they're looking at a rebuild, and part of that rebuild might involve parting ways with their star receiver. The speculation is that they're open to trading Jefferson in exchange for a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft and a third-rounder in 2027. That's a steep price, no doubt, but for a player of Jefferson's talent, it's a price that many contenders would be willing to pay, especially if they're trying to inject some serious explosive playmaking into their offense, which is exactly what the Steelers need right now, especially with George Pickens hampered by a hamstring injury that's kept him out for 3 games now. Jefferson, as many Steelers fans know, is a game changer. He's the kind of wide receiver who can stretch defenses deep, create separation with ease, and turn any catch into a big play. His profile in 2025, which is at the halfway point of the season, is nothing short of stellar. He's played 9 games, amassing 51 receptions on 84 targets for 686 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's an average of 5 yards per catch and about 76 yards per game. This kind of production makes him one of the most dynamic receivers in the league, and his ability to get open deep, averaging 48% deep routes would fit perfectly into the Steelers' offensive scheme. Now let's talk potential impact. If the Steelers somehow pull this off, Jefferson would instantly become their WR1, a true deep threat capable of transforming the aerial attack. With quarterback Kenny Pickett, who's been developing nicely this season, Jefferson would give the Steelers a weapon that defenses would have to respect on every play. His presence would open up space for guys like Pat Freiermuth, who's been steady but could benefit from more room to operate. Jefferson's ability to create separation, averaging 2-3 yards of YAC per route, would allow the Steelers to be more aggressive on third downs. Currently, Pittsburgh converts around 35% of their third down attempts, but with Jefferson in the fold, that number could jump close to 55%, making drives more sustained and putting more pressure on opponents' defenses. And it's not just about the passing game. Jefferson's threat down the field, he's got a deep route success rate of about 48% and wins contested catches around 60%, would force defenses to respect the pass more, opening up play-action opportunities for the Steelers' ground game. The run game, which averaged about 130 yards per game this season, could see a boost as well, especially when combined with the play-action that Jefferson's presence would inevitably generate. The Steelers' offensive line, which has shown some vulnerability this year, would benefit from defenses having to account for Jefferson's deep threats, potentially reducing the number of sacks allowed. Current numbers are around 25, but with better route running and spacing, those could drop to 15 or fewer. Now, the ripple effects are even more significant when you consider the division standings and playoff implications. A player like Jefferson, with his ability to turn games around, could be the X factor that pushes Pittsburgh from a good team to a serious Super Bowl contender. His impact on the offense would be reflected in the stats, pushing the team's total yardage over 400 yards per game, which would be a huge leap from their current numbers. Imagine what that would do for Kenny Pickett's confidence, especially as he continues to grow as a franchise quarterback. Plus, with Jefferson on the field, the Steelers could see a jump in their third down conversion rate from around 35% to nearly 55%, making their offense much more efficient and keeping defenses on the field longer. And let's not forget about the postseason. The odds for the Steelers to make a deep run would skyrocket. Right now, the Super Bowl odds sit around plus 2,500, but if they acquire Jefferson, those odds could plummet to around plus 800, reflecting their newfound offensive firepower. Jefferson's ability to be a playoff X-factor. Remember his big game against the Lions last season, with 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, could be the catalyst that propels the Steelers into serious contention in January. His presence would also boost the team's AFC wins percentage from around 50% to close to 75%, giving Pittsburgh a much stronger shot at a division title and a deep playoff run. Of course, a trade like this isn't without its risks. The Vikings are asking for a significant haul, and the Steelers would have to weigh the short-term cost against the potential long-term payoff. But if they're committed to building a dynasty, as many of us believe they should be, then acquiring a talent like Jefferson makes sense. It's a move that could transform the Steelers' offense into one of the most explosive in the league, especially once Kenny Pickett fully hits his stride and the offensive line gels around this new weapon. In the broader context, this potential trade echoes the big moves we've seen in NFL history, trades that seemed bold at the time, but ultimately defined a franchise's era of dominance. Think about how the Steelers built their Super Bowl teams around key acquisitions and draft picks. Adding Jefferson could be just that piece, an injection of talent that sparks a new era. It's almost reminiscent of the trade for Santonio Holmes back in the day, or even the acquisition of Antonio Brown, which turned Pittsburgh into a top-tier passing team. Jefferson, with his ability to turn a game on its head, could be the missing piece that helps the Steelers finally break through and reach that elusive Super Bowl stage again. Now, looking at the bigger picture, this move would also send a message across the league. The Steelers are serious about competing now and in the future. They're willing to make bold moves, investing in their offense to ensure they're not just playoff contenders but Super Bowl favorites. It would also put pressure on division rivals like the Bengals and Ravens, forcing them to respond and recalibrate their rosters. The AFC North has always been a fiercely competitive division, but adding a player like Jefferson could tip the scales in Pittsburgh's favor for years to come. Of course, all of this is still in the realm of speculation, but the signs point towards a real possibility. The Vikings, struggling with their cap and looking to rebuild, might see this as the best way to maximize their assets. For the Steelers, it's about seizing the moment, about making a statement that they're not just rebuilding but reloading for a deep playoff push. If they pull this off, it could redefine the franchise's future, turning their offense into a juggernaut and setting the stage for a sustained period of success. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think a trade for Justin Jefferson would be the move that takes us back to the Super Bowl? Would you be willing to part with a first-round pick in 2026 and a third in 2027 for a chance to have Jefferson lining up in black and gold? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. This could be the start of something big, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.